Faster than a speeding bullet.
I ran until my muscles burned and my veins pumped battery acid.
More powerful than a locomotive.
An idea is like a virus. Resilient. Highly contagious.
Able to leap tall buildings in a single bound.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Better Humanology podcast. Jared Moon here with Joe Courtney today. What's up, Joe?
Back again. How's it going?
Good. Really good. We're doing something a little bit different than normal here. No interview necessarily, but I just want to update everybody on a few things and talk about being a better human and a lot of advice on that topic. So first, I'll start with what this podcast is, what we're doing today. First, I will update you guys on some podcast-related stuff, but what we're going to do is a long time ago, and you could do it right now if you wanted to. You go to betterhumanology.com. It's going to kind of redirect you to a form that we have on an Into 3 Fitness website, and you can fill out information, basically answer the question that you've heard me ask, hundreds of people now. What's your best advice for becoming a better human? And we've had hundreds of people submit the responses to this question dating back to 2017 I think that's when we started that. And we've never done anything with it. I think we read a few on one podcast a long time ago, but I'm going to go through a bunch of them today. Me and Joe are just going to kind of go through them and read them and share some of them. Some of them will be short and sweet. Some of them are longer. And that's what we're going to do. I think it's really cool to hear more from the hardcore listeners of the podcast and their views on what it takes to become a better human. Now, before we get into that, I just kind of want to give an update on the podcast. So our goal for this podcast and as a company is to get to 10,000 better humans. And it's something that we've been tracking, and we're getting closer to 8,500. So only about 1,500 away. The goal was to hit 10,000 before 2020. So by the end of this year was kind of my deadline for doing that. And I think that we're going to clear it here pretty fast. What's your guess, Joe? When do you think we'll...
Where are we at?
8,500. Well, we're getting real close to 8,500.
I'm going to say probably April, beginning of April.
Okay. Yeah. So
about the same time as next cycle.
Yeah, I think that might be accurate with kind of how we're trending right now. So having said that, once we hit that 10,000 goal, things are going to get shaken up here at the Better Humanology podcast. I still don't know 100% sure what that means or what that looks like, but the goal for me isn't to just always increase everything. I used to be that kind of goal setter, and it just gets exhausting. Like, okay, I want to gain this much muscle, or I want to squat this much weight. Well, that never ends if you're always just trying to do more. So my plan is that's kind of the goal. And once we get to mission complete, mission accomplished on 10,000 better humans, this podcast is going to change up a lot. And I'm not talking about like, oh, maybe I'll ask, another interesting question at the end of the podcast by change it up. I mean, like drastically shaking things up, probably completely different format. I have a lot of ideas right now. I'm not going to spit them all out here. Joe's heard most of them, at least half of them. The other half are just running around in my brain. But I'm just trying to give people a heads up because things will change up a lot. Maybe April timeframe. Once we get to that 10,000, we'll do a celebratory podcast episode, and then we'll talk about the future of this podcast and what we're going to do, new things and all that good stuff. All right. Joe, are you ready?
Yes.
All right. Now, yeah, we had to take the breath. Okay, so I'll read first names because some people gave first names, some people gave first and last. Like I said, some of these date back to February 2017, which is when I think that we first did this because that's when they first started rolling in. So this is answering the question, what's your best advice for becoming a better human? And these are from podcast listeners. So this is DJ. He said, in 41 years on this planet, in the last 7+ training and coaching, CrossFit, I can honestly say consistency, attention to detail, hard work, and heart are the qualities I see in the most successful of us.
It's like 4 things wrapped in one, but I guess they kind of coincide.
Yeah, I mean, I love that's why I love doing the podcast too, is like you kind of get this like deep experience of like their entire life experience kind of culminated into like a singular response. So I think that's awesome. All right. Some of these are short, like David says, meditate 10 minutes, keep a journal.
Very specific.
Do you journal or meditate? Just out of curiosity.
I do not. I have my own, we'll just call it mental relaxation, personal reflection. But I've never really tried to meditate or journal.
Yeah, I don't know what would constitute journaling. I guess I keep like I do weekly and monthly reviews on myself in my journal. Does that count as journaling?
I think they would. I think it's anything that's just like getting your thoughts on paper or text, whatever.
It's more like metrics for me. I don't like, there's not a lot of like, all right, captain's log.
There should be.
This is how
you need to start.
But I'm not making fun of that process. Like I've tried it and it just never works for me because I always feel like so I've written a lot, right? I've written over 1 million words online, and like I always write in the like for the person. I never write for myself. So it's very hard for me to break that habit when I'm writing. Like I never use I'm always saying like, you should do this, whatever, like in writing to help someone with strength. But when it's like, I do that the same thing when I'm writing for myself in my journal. I'm like, you had a good day today. It's like, why are you doing that? So
do you sit in front of a mirror?
Nope.
Good. High five.
But I do keep a lot of metrics. Like I set weekly goals and I hold myself accountable in my own freaking notebook to see if I met those goals and so on and so forth. But we don't need to dive too far into that. All right. Let's see. This is Dean says, be a good role model. It is friends, family, or colleagues in the gym or in life. Be a good role model. I guess he's like, yeah, no matter who it is, just be a good role model. I like it. All right. Ben Patton says, be a part of something bigger than yourself. Give your life to helping others. If you seek to always just improve yourself, there will be no satisfaction because one day your body will deteriorate. It is a fact we will die, so we should spend life seeking to help others and being part of something that is not about us because one day we will be no more. Wow.
It's deep.
That is deep. Interesting. Yeah, I agree with that sentiment. I do think that you should either be trying to build something bigger than yourself or possibly be a part of it, and you should help others, but not necessarily. I'm never in agreement with to the detriment of yourself, but I don't think that's really what he's saying. But I like to throw in that clarification. All right, Theo says, give back a little every day, whether it's holding the door for someone, picking up that piece of trash, or helping someone out even when you don't want to. That one's pretty solid.
That one I like, only because I just think of like going to the grocery store and people leaving their carts out everywhere. But I try and put some, it's the pet peeve. But like,
you say you put some back? You'll do that? Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. And like, even if it's like, there's small things that could like ruin someone's day or just like put someone over the edge. Like if I go to pull into a parking space and somebody put their shopping cart there, if somebody would have just been nice and put their shopping cart away, then it would be all good.
I can tell you, every time I work out in my garage, I always put my weights away because the next person who comes to work out in my garage won't have to worry about weights being everywhere.
Yeah.
All right. I hope everyone understood the humor in that. Okay.
Who cares about that guy? Who cares about
it? All right. Kyle says, discipline. He said, I really like Jocko Willink's saying about discipline. If you can be disciplined in basically every aspect of life, assuming this is regarding good health and lifestyle habits, you are and will continue to be a better human. When humans truly fail at becoming better, it's because we simply lack discipline. We have every tool available to become better at our expense, whether that be books for education, people as mentors. There is no excuse to become better with discipline. Discipline equals freedom. So you ever listen to Jocko? You ever get on the Jocko train?
I have not. I think I just listened to one of his books, but no, I'm not a Jocko truther.
Yeah, he's got a pretty phenomenal podcast. I listened to it when he first started back in the day, and I pick up an episode every now and then, but yeah, I completely agree. Discipline equals freedom. I mean, I even put him in the Garage Gym Athlete book back in 2016. I have a chapter on discipline, and I start that chapter off with a quote from Jocko. Discipline equals freedom. I agree with that, man. If you can master discipline, you kind of master your life, right? Because you can do anything if you're disciplined.
Well, that kind of ties into, consistency and routines. If you discipline yourself enough to stick to certain routines, then, they always say that if you making enough routines in your life will free your mind for other stuff as well, because you just have to shut your mind off and put on autopilot for certain things. But to start those routines and habits it requires some discipline.
Yeah, right. So that's a big premise in the book, The One Thing. I don't have I ever mentioned that book to you before? The One Thing book.
Me, yes.
Yeah. Anyway, he talks about how you only need discipline long enough till it's a habit, right? Then after it's a habit, you don't need that discipline anymore. And I think that's so true, because if I snap back to when this podcast started, habits I didn't have then compared to habits I have now, like it's like really hard to make some of those like a part of my daily routine. But now I don't even think about half of them. I'm working on new stuff that like is hard for me still, but like those old things that were so challenging back then are just part of my daily routine now, and stuff I get done. You only need discipline for so long. All right, let's see. We have VJ says start working out in your garage. Duh. But he goes on further to say not only that, but make sure you do it consistently. Consistency is the key to getting anywhere. We all know that excellence is a habit and not an act. So that one is pretty awesome. All right, Keith says, have a creed or a motto that you live by, and make sure that your actions match the creed/motto or are actions in that are in line with them. Check yourself consistently and see where your actions don't live up to your creed, motto, and hold yourself accountable to change. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, you have a motto?
I do not, or a creed or anything like that. There used to be like a quote that I had on my computer for a while, and that was about it. But and it was something to the effect of no, I can't even think of it. not your creed. Not your for years. I think it's ingrained to me. Yeah. Did you?
Yeah. Do I know? I think I don't have a creed or a motto. I really love the hold the line. That means a lot to me personally. Like I've often thought about getting that tattooed like on my arm, so I see it all the time. And that has a lot to do with like, I know what I'm capable of, but I'm only capable of it if I hold myself to that standard. And I love having that constant reminder. But I wouldn't necessarily, it's my creed or motto.
Yeah, mine was just a quote, fitness related. It was like, I always regret it when I don't, but I never regret it when I do.
Yeah. Or is like what is it? The pain of regret versus the something.
Yeah.
Someone out there listening already knows what we're trying to say. All right. So Bradford says, compassion for others, the ability to forgive. That's pretty good. Don't get that a lot. All right. Rita says, love yourself and embrace your differences. It's good. Solid stuff. All right. Flipping through some more here. Dan says, be patient. There are a lot of like very short ones, and then some incredibly long ones. So Jim says, simple and probably the most repeated regards to people, treat others as you want to be treated. I think that's the golden rule, right? Regards to places and things, leave it as you would like to find it. So clean up your garage, Jim, after you're done. One that may be my own, but again, I'm sure I'm not the first to say this, regards to self, fearless without arrogance. I like that, Jim. This is a great like set of responses there. I said, so Dan said, be patient. Lou says, first admit that you are human. At first, when I saw that, I was like, well, that's kind of like a weird response. But I think, it's a lot deeper than that. Like first admit that you're human, like probably admit that you're flawed and that you're not perfect and that you're not going to achieve that. That's how I read into that one a little bit more.
For those people that I guess if they have like gym goals to strive for something, and if they slip up or on diets or something, if they slip up and they're like, oh, well, now I just got to throw in the towel or whatever. But like, no, because you still did all this stuff and you can still get right back into it.
Dude, that all or nothing mentality. I don't understand it at all. don't understand it. All right. Dustin says, all right. Wait, grab good habits from others. Sorry, the way this is kind of on my computer, hard to read some of them. Grab good habits from others. How do you feel about that one?
I think it's kind of goes in line with the role model thing. If you have somebody else if you have a role model yourself or something so that somebody does well, try and piggyback off of something that they do, whether it's a little bit of it. Yeah.
Perfect.
See how somebody else is successful and try and replicate their success for you.
Yeah, to some degree, right? Like I just recorded podcast the other day it'd be published, I don't know, the week after this one. We talk about morning routines, and my morning routine, when I first started a morning routine, like consistently, was honestly back in 2015. And I used to do, and I've talked about this on the podcast before, but I used to try and do everyone else's routine. Like, oh, I heard that person's doing this, so I'll do that too. And then that kind of morphed into me doing my own thing. Now, my morning routine is I wake up at 5, sometimes a little bit earlier, sometimes a little bit later, like 5:15. But I just do whatever the hell I feel like doing. The fact is I have a morning routine. I get up, I get out of bed, I do something that's going to be beneficial for me. But now it's different for me every day. And I love that. Like, whether I want to go for a run or meditate or whatever, like, I just do stretching, mobility, whatever it is. And that has freed me up a lot from just like, okay, this is just like my better human practice in the morning. It doesn't matter necessarily what it is. And that goes against like a lot of my beliefs on doing something every day to get better. Mm-hmm. But I think I think the morning routine is what I'm doing. So I think it's okay. All right. So we have two, interesting, because I don't think, let's see, this is from Ashley, and then the next one's from VD. So now working with Into 3 Fitness, I don't know if they were at that time. So back in 2017, I don't think so.
VD was not.
VD not. Ashley, maybe it just started. She said, never stop learning. No matter how much knowledge you have, you will never know it all. Even if you don't agree with something 100%, at least you can say you read up or studied up on it and have a definite reason as to why you don't agree with it. So I say hit the books or ebooks or articles and go learn something new. That's from Ashley.
That's a really good one.
Yeah.
Because it also helps open-mindedness. Some people are very closed-minded where they learn something and they think it's the way, and that's that.
Yeah. I think that you need open-mindedness, and even if you can get to an agree to disagree standpoint or something. All right. VD said, my best advice would be to keep making small changes over time. Keep moving forward and don't dwell on past missteps. Like it. So Raymond, for me, I think it's honesty, being truthful with yourself, knowing what you're capable of and not getting caught up with people's expectations of you and society. When you're honest with yourself, it will reflect on others and it becomes infectious. I think that's awesome. That's a really great one. We lie to ourselves so much, like so much. We can justify anything to ourselves on why we won't do something. Like you're talking about skipping the workout or like doing a diet for like a week or two, and then you miss like, you do one thing wrong on like Saturday night and you're like, well, F it. I just won't do the diet at all anymore. Like we have all these internal justifications on like why we won't do things. And we're worse to ourselves about lying than we are to any other human being. And it's just crazy. So I think if you can be honest with yourself.
It's start something new unless it's a Monday. You gotta start something new on Monday.
Yeah, I always give my dad a hard time on that because he'll try like different things. He'll do different things. And like he does a juice fast like maybe once a year, once every other year, like to kick off the year or something like that. He always does it. Like he always gets all the way through it. But I'm always like, he's always like, well, yeah, I really want to do it, but I'm going to start on Monday. It's like Tuesday, man. Like why are we waiting that long to get started? I always give him a hard time. All right. So Michael says improve 1% every day. So it's Kaizen principle. It's kind of what VD was saying. Robin, he said, go beyond simply training, really plug into what's available here. He's talking about Into 3 Fitness, better humanology. The true value exists in some of the more esoteric advice and practice, which it may take you some time to find, accept, and begin to practice. True change can only come from within. It can't be applied as an external force. Use the challenges to help you begin making the change, and the rest will look after itself. So I appreciate the shout out to what we're doing. And to be honest, that's how I look at our training as, for lack of a better word, the gateway drug to Into 3 Fitness and all the things that we're doing. Like, yeah, it's the gateway drug. And then they get involved in Joe's book club, which sporadic recommendations. I'm just messing with you. And
Whatever I feel like.
No, so we do all sorts of stuff to try and improve people, but we start with training because that's the easiest part. Tim said, "Listen to Tim," which I thought was awesome. And the reason I wanted to read that one from Tim was Scott followed that one up, and they can't see each other's responses. It's just like the next one. It says, "Do what Jared Moon says." So I thought that was funny. So kind of what we were talking about a minute ago, Chris Langley says, don't throw away your progress on one mistake. In the past, I was famous for falling off the wagon when it came to new habits, but messing up once. What I would tell myself is, well, you already messed up. Might as well make it worth it. Oh, so like go all in on like messing up. Like if you have like a bad meal, might as well follow that up with like a 6-pack of beer. Like this isn't his quote. I'm just saying like that's the kind of mindset. I get it. All right. So what I should have done is let the mistake go and move on to the next moment, not pine over the mistake and keep the new habit. The most obvious example I have is changing my nutrition. This holds true to almost any new habit. I think that's great, especially since we already talked about it. It's kind of cool.
Yeah. Just side funny story about, if you mess up big or whatever.
Yeah.
Every couple of months, I used to do this, I haven't done it in a while, but every couple of months, like, because I eat super clean, super mostly paleo and everything like that, and cook everything that I eat. But there's every once in a while where you're walking in the grocery store and I see the cereal aisle and I just really crave cereal or something. But I don't get it because I'm like, okay, if I'm, maybe next week, if I'm still feeling it, then I'll bookmark it or whatever. So that after a couple weeks of like, I'm really craving this thing, it'll be like on the weekend and I buy a box of cereal and I binge it. I eat the entire box in like a sitting and I'm like, all right, well, check that box. I'm good for a few months. Because I'm just like tired of it.
I just have a question then. Do you feel terrible after you do that? And I'm not talking about like getting down on yourself. I'm talking about like, do you have any sort of reaction to food? Like, I feel kind of shitty after eating that much cereal.
I've got pretty much an iron stomach. So I'm
just interesting because you're so low carb and paleo, man. I thought that if you had like Fruit Loops, a whole box of Fruit Loops or whatever the hell it is, it seems like it would tear you up.
It hasn't happened in a while. I haven't gone like for the super sugary cereals. It'll be something not as aggressive, but yeah, every once in a while. Or yeah.
What's your go-to cereal of choice? I have to know now.
Captain Crunch.
All right, Captain Crunch is
berries,
awesome. Yeah.
Also, if you eat enough of it, it'll hurt your mouth anyway. It'll just cut the top of your mouth. So I don't want it anymore.
Yeah, it will damage you. That's awesome. I have a similar thing that I used to do, and I haven't done it in a while. Is when I would go on my annual tours, I would do a thing of Oreos. I would buy one like pack of Oreos, and it'd be my yearly, like once a year. And I'm there by myself, right? So like I eat all the Oreos. There's no like sharing if someone else gets them over the course of like a 2 or 3 week time period. But I stopped that. I just can't. I don't know. I just can't do it. I don't know. Maybe I've gotten a little bit better, but it's okay to do stuff like that just to let everyone know.
Especially if you're good over time.
Well, and the reason I say I can't is just because what I was asking you is like now when I do stuff like that, I feel really bad. Like, yeah. And I'm not talking about I'm beating myself up mentally for not being disciplined. I'm talking about like I feel bad. Like like my stomach hurts. Like I don't feel good. I have a headache. Whatever the case is. That's why I'm not doing some of that stuff. All right. Chris says, "Suffer in silence." I like it. It's great.
Means no complaining.
Yeah. Renato, I think I said that right, says, "Well, I heard this quote, which reflects to me upon almost anything, work, personal, etc. Do what you love what you do, and give more than what you promise. To be a better human and whatever your goals, benchmarks, or anything that you want to pursue, you have to embrace what you are doing and always give more than you want to become better." That's the advice that I would provide. That's great. Do what you love what you do. All right. Adam Montgomery, find your purpose and focus on your purpose. A lot of us lose our greatness to distraction that leads nowhere. Find your purpose, focus on it like a laser beam, develop it into greatness. I like laser beams. I like laser beams of focus. I'll talk. All right. So Alan, so this is Alan Forster, did the race with us.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So he said, if you want to improve at something, you must quantify and score yourself on that objective daily. So he'd probably really like my weekly reviews that I do. And have someone hold yourself accountable to your goal. It's easy to do this in sports, at work, with revenue metrics, or in the gym, but can also be translated to other aspects of your life. In the book Triggers, the author recommends picking things from the 4 areas he outlines for self-improvement and scoring yourself daily on the objectives you set for each. Having to evaluate and meet yourself daily on the things you want to change will go a long way in helping you stick to your goals. Dude, I'm all about that one. What are your thoughts on that? Is that one like...
There's a lot going on there.
Yeah. So basically he's saying quantify what you want to get better at and have a meeting with yourself on a daily, weekly basis to get better. Like to hold yourself accountable to that. It's like, I said I was going to work out today. Did I work out today? No. I think where people would fall off that is if the answer is negative too many times.
Yeah.
But if you could keep doing it, even if you weren't necessarily hitting your goals, you might.
Well, that could be a good way to assess your goals, whether they are, okay, is this really a goal that matters to you, or is it actually an attainable, reachable goal? If you're always consistently failing, you might have to reassess that, maybe set a smaller benchmark. I
think that's a great point. If you are having that daily meeting with yourself, as Alan suggests, and you're never meeting that goal, you might need to change the freaking goal. All right. So Matt says, do shit that scares you and makes you uncomfortable, ... often. I like that one.
What scares you?
What scares me?
Too many Oreos now?
Well, what scares me now more recently is pushing myself to some point in which I damage myself.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not talking about just like a muscular injury. Like I'm talking about heart or lung damage or something more serious. That scares me now. It's a little fear I'll have to get over. All right. Michael says, to become a better human is to act. Today, too many people talk about how things should be or what they should do to be better, but only a few people will actually act on the advice. If you don't act, you aren't becoming better or participating in the solution. You're only a bystander. Therefore, if you want to be a better human, you need to act. This is how I feel, and maybe getting political here. This is how I feel about all politics. Like, whether you're Republican, Democrat, whatever. Like, most of what anyone's doing on Facebook is just talking. Like, blah, 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 blah. Like, might as well just do something else with your time. People get so caught up in like this stuff. Like, is the government going to open back up? Is Trump doing his job? Like, should they build the wall? Like, who cares? If you're not participating in the solution, then shut up and move on to something that might improve your life.
Yeah.
Because you're having a conversation about the 6 friends you have on Facebook and getting in some sort of argument that is not beneficial. You're not swaying someone's mind. Because the only, that used to be an argument I'd hear is like, well, you're supposed to have these debates about politics because you can swing people's opinions or whatever. That never happens. That's not how it works. Like, the only people who are going to argue with you are the people who are the exact opposite side of your opinion. And you both are so like, I'm so Republican, I'm so Democrat, that you guys are just going to argue, and like, you're not going to change each other's mind on like how to vote or what to do in politics. So yeah, I took that one in a different direction, but freaking do something. Don't just sit around and talk about things.
I think it's impossible to have an adult debate on social media. It's all it's all just arguments.
Yeah,
finger pointing and name calling and people labeling, and I think it just gets nowhere. People don't. I think right when people get on social media, logic just goes out the window. Like, oh, that sounds good, or I'm just gonna poke fun at this person or point the finger this way.
Dude, so we do a lot of Facebook advertising, and you know that, and just kind of share with everybody listening, like, we're most part just trying to get people to sign up for things like either a free sample of training, free trial Garage Gym Athlete, like, and not in any overly aggressive marketing sleazy type way at all, but like the level of negativity people will hate on you for like trying to get your message out there, it just blows my mind. Like, obviously those are not the people that we're looking for to sign up for the program and do the training or whatever. And I don't focus on those people a lot, but when we first started doing advertising, it was like almost overwhelming. I will say that has greatly reduced itself over the last like year. So I don't know if we're just advertising in better places or people are getting a little bit better. I don't know which one it is. But it used to be like a negative comment like every hour. Someone's like, and no one believes anything. Like I would like any videos I have of like if I did like a lift or something like that, people are like, yeah, those are all fake plates. All of them.
Did you see the Instagram today? They're like, it literally just happened this morning.
Oh, well, see, there you go. No, this happened like 1,000 times, man. Was it me deadlifting in my backyard?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
So
like, all those plates, it can't be that much weight.
Yeah, like I don't understand, and there's no claim in that ad. So the ad is just a video basically we took from my personal Instagram account. That was me deadlifting and doing pull-ups or whatever, talking about being a Garage Gym Athlete, but I'm not like, there's no like, hey, watch me deadlift 600 pounds and then do a pull up. Like, it doesn't say anything like that. When people are like, the weights are fake, you're a scam artist. I'm like, what?
The bar's bending.
Yeah. Like, why would I go out of my way to like try and, I don't know. It's weird. People are strange.
How are these comments constructive? Do you feel better about your day for these things?
Yeah. Did that help you? Did that help? What's funny is recently some guy posted a bunch of negative stuff. Like he was really hating, and I responded, "I'll pray for you," just as a because I don't really get in those internet battles or anything like that. And I guess I triggered him. He deleted all of his comments. He's like, "Oh wait, I was not being Christian in this moment or whatever," So I'm gonna delete all my comments. I just thought it was really funny.
Triggered.
All right, Josh says, and he answered twice. No, this is two different Joshes. All right, so Josh
There's more
says,
than one Josh?
There's one. Well, I know both of these, and I thought it was the same guy because I'm just looking at their email addresses. But Josh says, "Be better than yesterday. Never stop growing physically, spiritually, and mentally." I like that one. Let's see. Lance Baker says, "Pray, work, eat, play, never deviate, never grow weary, repeat." Nice.
Never
All right.
deal in absolutes.
No. Yeah. All right. Shelly, meditation, hands down. I took your challenge way back on the first podcast. Meditation is helping me continually evolve into a better human. It touches all areas of my life, fitness, personal, professional. Good stuff. Alex says, serve your country. It's interesting. I won't doubt or say that serving the military didn't make me a better human. Definitely made me a better human. It's not for everyone, though. I will say that as well.
Yeah.
All right. Greg says, keep your word to yourself and finish. Got it.
Are those connected?
I think if you like maybe saying if you tell yourself you're going to do something, then stay true to yourself and freaking do it.
Okay. Keep yourself to your word. I was thinking keep your word to yourself. Like, you're going to say something, just don't.
No. Yeah, I don't think he's saying.
Back to social media. Just keep your thoughts to yourself if you have nothing nice to say.
Yeah, I think he's more talking about self-talk. All right, Josh. Another Josh says improve 1% every day. Heard that one a few times. I really like it. Sam Miller, practice doing hard stuff. The harder things you do often, the tougher and more resilient you become. Hard things rule. I love that one. All right. So we have a bunch of one short answers. I'm going to read those off. Lauren says, get plenty of sleep in light of recent podcasts and many sleep podcasts that we've done. I agree. Micah says altruism. I like that one. David says love one another. Matthew Castillo says never stop at the bare minimum. All right. Dwight says, you are not a victim of your circumstances. I know, then he starts a quote, I know how to be brought low and I know how to abound. In any and every circumstance, I have learned the secret of facing plenty and hunger, abundance and need. You're not a victim of your circumstances.
I think try not to play the victim card.
Yeah.
Trying to, whatever you have going on, you can overcome it. To try and find a way to overcome whatever cards you were dealt.
Yeah. Pat says, live life to the fullest. Glenn says, don't sweat the small stuff. Mike says, practice self-sacrifice daily.
Don't sweat the small stuff could be both good and bad, I think.
Yeah, what do you mean by that?
So, good because, yeah, you don't get too beat up or hung up on certain little things that go wrong. But then if you say you're on a certain diet or whatever and you don't sweat the small things, like, oh, I'll just have one. Oh, and then I'll just have one. I'm just not going to sweat it. And then it just grows over time.
Yeah. And what's that quote? How you do anything is how you do everything.
Yeah.
I'm in partial agreement with that. But it kind of goes to your point is like, if you're going to be the person who's okay with slacking on your diet a little bit, then are you the type of person who's okay with slacking a little bit on everything? But at the same time, the only reason I kind of disagree with how you do anything is how you do everything. I think that that's true in matter of principle, like integrity and hard work and stuff. But I don't think that it's actually true. Like, okay, let's bring a fitness example. Like, I'm going to give 100% effort in short burst conditioning in which we're only operating for 10 to 20 seconds. And I'm talking about actual 100% intensity. I'm not going to give the same intensity if I'm going for a 20-mile run.
Yeah.
So, I know that's really getting in the weeds, but I think that that's true in a lot of life tasks. Like, if I'm cleaning the kitchen, I'm not going to block everything out and focus 100,000%. Hey, don't talk to me. I got to focus. I'm going to be the best I can possibly be at cleaning the kitchen right now, which that's how I feel in how I do a lot of work related stuff. Like, I'll shut down all notifications. I get focused. Cause it's work, it's the business. Like, let's focus and get it done. But I don't think that you need that level of intensity everywhere. So that's why I kind of don't agree with that. But I get the sentiment of the saying.
It reminds me of a story in the military. There was a supervisor that I had on my first deployment, and I used to work with munitions, so you need to be able to do your job well. And if you can do your job well, then yeah, it's super important. But then there was a supervisor who harped on the tiniest, dumbest thing, and they're like, it was literally, oh, if you can't fully button your pants, then how do I know you know how to build bombs? What? It's a cargo pocket. I have one button. It's like, no, button it. It's technically in regulation.
The military attention to detail, yeah, that could be.
What are you talking about? Go away.
Has nothing to do with my job proficiency.
No.
I mean, it's a slippery slope, right? Like, it's like some small things don't matter, some small things do. Because going back to military example, what if you were 2 minutes late to work every day? Like, come on, dude, don't sweat the small stuff. It's only 2 minutes. And I'm still good at my job. Well, it's
2 minutes every day.
Yeah, right. Everything has a gray area, I think. Yeah. Josh says, never stop learning. And then Steve says, learn something new daily. Jerry says, work hard, be present, make it happen. All right, I think I'm going to read a couple more. Let me try to get to something a little bit longer than, like Dave said, read. Nate said, be kind. Mike said, honesty. Chris says, eat healthy. Nick, learn as much as you can about the things that interest you. That way you can be more efficient in reaching your goals. All right, let me jump. I'll do jump to some longer ones here. Rusty says, easy. Be kind, respectful, and honest to others. See the best in everyone and everything. Help others as often as possible. Stay positive no matter what comes your way. Smile and laugh as much as possible. Work hard and never be afraid of reaching and striving for what may seem to be insurmountable goals, hopes, and dreams. Then this will be the last one. Tyler says, be patient. Life is a process achieved over years of collecting memories and experiences. Getting frustrated over a 1 to 2 week or even 2 to 3 month time frame is not worth it. Stay with the process and achieve the win in the long game.
I think that definitely is good because of especially in the fitness and nutrition and whatever industry, because everything that people try and sell you is, 6-week abs, lose 30 pounds in 4 weeks and stuff like that. But when people you really want to make changes, it takes longer. Yeah,
it takes an unfortunate amount of time. I say that because sometimes people don't want to hear that. And at Garage Gym Athlete, we will definitely get you some sort of performance or aesthetic metric in a 12-week cycle. If you're wanting to lose a certain amount of weight or, hit a PR. But if you want to go from 30 pounds overweight to this chiseled specimen, 6-pack abs with no body fat, I'm talking about that's a lifetime pursuit.
Mm-hmm.
That takes a lot of hard work and dedication. Some people can have done it much faster than others in their lifetime. But it takes an unfortunate amount of time for high levels of success.
Yeah, and I was last week or two telling you about my dad starting to count macros, and I made a plan for him. And when I sent him his calorie total and whatnot, he was I guess he figured, or somebody told him that it was 600 more than what it should be, and he was only going to do a third of the amount of carbs and other stuff. And I'm just no, because I don't know what they're telling you, but they might be going for a lose quick and then fizzle off from there. But if you just start slow now, over time, a year from now, you'll be better off than whatever that other plan is. That's going to be the get done quick.
Yeah. So to kind of tie that all together, I get that mentality. I put in an email recently, the vitamin D, some studies I was reading on vitamin D, primarily because I think that I might be a little bit vitamin D deficient right now. We've had unusually cloudy weather this whole winter. I haven't been going outside as much because it's been a lot colder in Texas than normal. Normally I get a lot more sun even in the winter times. So I haven't done any blood tests, but I was okay, I'm going to take some vitamin D. And I was well, if I'm deficient, I should just go balls to the wall and take a shit ton of vitamin D, and that's not, I'm like that with almost everything when I want to get started. I'm let's just go 100,000%. But vitamin D is a fat soluble vitamin, and it doesn't, you can't pee it out like you do vitamin C. There are dangers in taking too much of stuff like that. And so anyway, just to kind of wrap that back is I understand people's mindset of no, let's eat 20 grams of carbohydrates a day and cut our calorie intake in half and see the results in the next 6 weeks. And it's you forgot about the human element side of that, in which you haven't been doing those things.
Yeah.
And so how are you all of a sudden going to become that person? And that's why I really think that taking a more structured approach to nutrition, let's shave off 300 calories and lower carbohydrates a little bit, stick with that for 6 weeks, adjust, and then only if the needle is not moving. If you give someone a macronutrient plan and after a month they haven't lost a single pound, they're either lying to you or it's time to adjust the macro plan, right? All right. Cool. Well, that is this podcast. We'll probably do this again because we have a lot more responses that we could read through. We just tore through a bunch of them, but probably do another one of these. I look forward to getting to that 10,000. I'm going to keep you guys updated more regularly, probably on a weekly or bi-weekly basis. When I do the intros for the podcast, I'll tell you how many humans have become better, answered the survey, and we're not far now. And then the big changes coming to the podcast after that happens. So it's all coming your way. Thanks for listening.
See ya.
Your best. Losers always whine about their best.